Hello and welcome to my video today. We are going to be talking about the importance of going to the hairdressers while suffering with hair loss. This is obviously some advice if you are losing your hair but want to keep it. So the most important thing when you start losing your hair is you get terrified of going to the hairdressers. I know I put it off for quite some time until eventually I kind of had to go. My hair was falling out so quickly that I ended up with almost a dreadlock situation at the back of my head, and I think it was a week or so before a party that I needed to go to, and it kind of got to the point where I was just like, I need to go get this sorted now. So I went to the hairdressers. I was absolutely terrified, and rest assured they just completely put my mind at ease, and to be honest they actually did the thing for free in the end because it was just untangling a lot of hair. The problem was my hair was falling out so quickly that it was just becoming matted. So before I'd even have a chance to brush it out, it was just getting tangled amongst itself, and therefore I just ended up with this really terrible bad situation at the back of my hair. For quite a while I tried to hide it. I was obviously putting my hair up in bubbles and stuff so you couldn't see it quite as bad, and constantly trying to go at it myself. I did suffer with very bad knots in various places. I think a lot of this was caused by the fact that my hair was extremely long, so it wasn't falling out of my hair quick enough before it was getting tangled, and that sort of ended up with the problem that I had. What I found after that trip going to the hairdressers was just how important it was to keep going. Like I said, I put it off quite a lot of time, but eventually you realise the benefits of going to the hairdresser still when you're losing your hair. The best benefit that you'll have going to the hairdresser still when you're losing your hair is the fact that you'll have a custom style that will need to change as you lose your hair. So for me, my hair has fell out in patches in several places, so each time I went to the hairdressers we did something new that would help adapt to that hair loss. Another important thing about going to the hairdressers constantly is just keeping that rapport up. So I was actually due to be married about a year or so after my hair started falling out. So I wanted to keep building up that relationship so that when it came to my wedding day, on that day I wasn't going to be nervous, I wasn't going to be worried, I wasn't going to be self-conscious about my hairdresser seeing my bald head for the first time. In this scenario, I thankfully, touch wood, had a very amazing hairdresser from Rockabells in Northampton. In fact, it was two colleagues, Emma and Kerry-Ann, who have been amazing with my hair loss journey from the start to the end. My very first trip to the hairdressers, in particular, I didn't end up making my very first trip after the hair loss, my regular one, because I relocated town. My first trip to what is now my regular hairdressers was so nerve-wracking, it was unreal. I was self-conscious, I thought they might be disgusted, I thought they wouldn't have seen it. What I actually found was the fact that they were super reassuring. They were so concerned over how I felt that I didn't even need to feel uncomfortable at all. They wanted to make sure I was happy, I was comfortable. But at the same time, they absolutely treated me like a normal person, and I cannot tell you how amazing that feels when you're suffering with your hair loss. Anytime you show anyone your hair loss, you're probably suffering with anxiety of some kind and feeling alienated. What going to the hairdresser meant for me was just for a short while, I felt completely normal. They treated me completely normal. They shampooed and conditioned my hair as normal, they cut it as normal, they blew dry it as normal. They didn't treat me like a special case or something very delicate. They just treated me like a normal person. When going to the hairdresser, it is extremely important that you still know what you want. You need to make sure that you can guide them into ways that make you feel comfortable and that you can adapt to your own hair. You need to know what's going on, you need to keep up to date with it. Only that way can you know how to make what you've got look the best you possibly can. For me, as you can see, this is my new style. It was previously very long. I'll either show some pictures or a video or something to show you what it was like before. So as you can see, this is my hair before. It's fallen quite flat, it is long. It's got a lot of split ends by now and it's definitely growing out way too much. My hair fringe and bangs are all just completely grown out, there's no face shaping, and currently still stuck to a middle parting. Don't know if that will change because of the way my hair loss has gone at the moment, so I don't know if a side parting is practical, but at the moment this is what it looks like before. As you can see now, my hair has a new lease of life. It's had quite a few inches off the bottom. She's done a lovely, gorgeous blunt cut at the bottom. What this actually does is just makes the ends look thicker. It also feels a lot thicker on the ends. So if you run your hair through your hair, if you run your hands through your hair, what you'll find is that the ends feel thicker. So previously it was just sort of feeling very thin. Now it just feels like it's got a bit more life there. There's a bit more actual, even though it's not, actual hair there. What she's also done is added some very thin layers just towards the front. Now these are extremely thin because I don't actually have a lot of hair left up here. So what she has done is just them very thin, and we've already had the conversation once it grows out further that I might be able to add more in. These thin bits do is actually add some shape to the front of my face, because previously it was falling very flat. It was making my face look extremely long. It wasn't flattering at all. And this adds a lot more shape. It adds more volume, and it also, for me in particular, where I have lost my hairline, it also almost acts as a bit of an illusion to a hairline. So when you're looking at me from the front, you can't necessarily tell that I have lost my hair. Another thing she did was add some very, very thin layers to the top. And this was just literally like one single layer, and so it ends about here. If I drag my hair out here, you can see just ever so slightly it falls a bit shorter than the bottom. What this does is, so when I curl it, for starters, with a hairstyle like this, it adds volume, it adds a lot more shape. When I curl it, it will end up adding more curls higher up, which will make it look thicker overall. And not to mention, because it's lighter on top, if I back comb it, if I add any volume, powders or hairspray, etc., it will actually hold a lot better and keep its volume, making it look thicker and making it look more grand. Going to the hairdressers on a regular basis is so important. Not only is it good for yourself in order to make you feel good, but it's also just really good to make sure that you're moving and continuing to keep up with your hair loss. So for me in particular, I've obviously lost a lot of hair at the sides and at the back, either side, and then it's slowly creeping up, which you can see in one of my other videos. Means it's that I've had a style that's been adjusted to sort of cover up the best way it can. It also adds in some illusions of having fuller hair, but also it just means that I am adapting constantly to what my hair is doing and making the most of what I've got left. It's worth a quick honourable mention to say that if you are not comfortable with your hairdressers, keep looking until you find one that does make you comfortable. There is nothing worse than going to a hairdresser's and feeling insecure and not happy with what they're doing, or you're not happy with the outcome. I used to be terrified of the hairdressers, and this was before I even suffered with hair loss. And then eventually I found where I go to on a regular basis now. You were already going through a lot, so it's important to make sure you find a hairdresser's that you feel like you fit in, that you feel comfortable talking to your stylist, and most importantly, when you leave, you feel good. This is super important, mainly for the fact that one, it makes you feel like a normal person, and two, that you can talk about situations that are sensitive to you and feel comfortable doing so, even when you might feel a little bit vulnerable. I cannot stress enough, make sure you keep looking for a hairdresser that makes you feel happy. There is nothing worse than going to a hairdresser's and leaving and being absolutely devastated. Now, you have to understand that you might not have the look exactly like you would like. I, for one, would love my long hair back, and I would love for it to still be bright red. However, that is not the situation that is ideal for my hair loss, and so I have had to keep adapting to what it is and making the best of a bad situation. So to recap this video, what you need to do is make sure you still go to the hairdressers. I cannot stress it enough. It is so important for both your mental well-being as well as finding a place that you are comfortable, and also making sure you keep on track of your hair loss and keep moving with the motions. Make the best of a bad situation and just keep on rocking. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like and subscribe, hit the little bell for a notification whenever I post something new, and hopefully I'll see you soon.